Hello everyone, back with another requested tier list today. As I've been saying, the requests have been flying in, which is great. So I usually do kind of alternates when I get requests, but I'm having to just do them back to back because I'm getting so many, so that's good. Today's request, as you can see here, some Never Frog. Remember he's had a request before, but he got another one today as well. He's asked for sort of a World Wonders tier list or a Famous Buildings tier list, whatever. Said has more on. I'm like, yep, I'll see what I can find. So I sort of settled on world famous buildings tier list. Unfortunately, this list doesn't really have sort of natural things on or statues, things like that. They're all sort of, I guess, what you would call a building. But hopefully that's close enough to what you wanted, and I thought this was the best tier list sort of in that area. Also, I'll just apologise early for when I mispronounce half of these because a lot of them have extremely long and names from languages that I do not speak. So I get that apology in early. And I guess we'll just get started. First one up, Angkor Wat. This is one I've certainly heard of. It's like an ancient temple thing. Been there for ages. A lot of these have been there for ages, I assume. So it's in Southeast Asia somewhere, I think. Not sure exactly where. That could even be wrong, to be honest. It's I think it looks very nice, you know. It's a classic one as well. I'd say we're off to a decent start. I'd put it a B. Then we have the Art Science Museum. This is one I'd previously not heard of. Looks like a more modern building, you know. It's like looks very cool, kind of like a dish like design almost, like you know, curving up. White. This one I have no idea where it is, but it does look good. But I've also never heard of it, so it can't be that significant, I don't think. It does look nice though. I think I'll put it C. Then we have This is another one I've heard of. Probably pronounced it wrong again, but we've tried. I think it's another sort of ancient temple thing. You can see it's like going up on layers. Yeah, does look interesting, if not a bit sort of grey. But you know, if it's built out of stone, it's going to be the colour of the stone or whatever it's built out of, isn't it? Especially the older things where there isn't much design going on. Well, there is design, but you know there isn't much colour to be had. I think this one is another solid one. Let's say a B again. Then we have Bran Castle. Sort of a pretty standard looking castle, I guess, you know. In the middle of some trees. Big stone walls, you know, got towers and things, defensible. I guess compared to most castles I'm familiar with, don't really have like a peaked tiled roof or anything. This one, it's not as impressive for me personally, I don't think. You know, it kind of looks, you know, it's just, not to undersell it obviously, it's obviously still amazing, but for how good all these buildings are, this is kind of just a castle, if you know what I mean. So, I'll put it E. Then we have, here we go, the Brihadisarva Temple. That's almost definitely been pronounced wrong, and it's also one I've never heard of. But in terms of looks quite interesting, you know, got like a big sort of triangle bit going on, almost like a pyramid sort of going on. Sort of reddy orange colour. Yeah, not sure where this is, or it's obviously a temple, but yeah, it's one I've never heard of. Although it does, I think I like the look of it. Let's say a C tier. Then we have the Burj Khalifa, another more modern one. Tallest building in the world. I believe it still is that. It certainly was at one point, if it's not now, but I still think it is. It's in Dubai, I think. Yeah, I think it was built just to basically be the tallest building in the world. Is that sort of fun? Well, not really fun fact, but weird fact about how it doesn't have like a sewage system, so all the sewage is just carried away in trucks, which is, you know, a bit weird. But in terms of the design itself, it's kind of just, you know, a nice looking skyscraper. Not very wide, very high, big point on the top. Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're the tallest building in the world, you're doing something like that. I'll say a B. Then we have the Chateau of Versailles. I assume that's pronounced Versailles, but could be wrong. It certainly sounds French. Yeah, got a nice garden as well. Sort of a yellow-looking building, maybe. Or it could just be very the light on the picture. It could be white, I guess, with sunlight on it. Yeah, looks a bit square. Not that that's bad, really, but it is what it is. Yeah, different colour, you know. Interesting. Nice garden as well. Awful lot of windows. You see lots and lots of windows. I'd say it looks a bit samey, sort of, if you know what I mean. Like, just window, 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 window. Yeah, probably not my favourite, but not bad either. I'll say a D. There we have Chichen Itza. Probably pronounce that one as well. This is another one I've heard of. Like, ancient... Is it Mayan? Maybe? Could be wrong on that. Like a kind of pyramid-ish, but with layers, you know, going up. Got the straight bits each side. A very famous one. Yeah, sort of. I think it's just on like the middle of the jungle as well. Is it? Could be wrong on that as well. But this one, yeah, I like it. I like the name as well, even though I've probably pronounced it wrong. But that's how I know it as Chichen Itza. Yeah, I don't know. Just something about it looks interesting. It is all just sort of stone colour again, so that's not the best. But I do like how it looks. I'll say a B tier. Then we have the Chrysler Building. This is one I've heard of, but I'm not too sure about it. I think it's in America somewhere. I could be wrong. It just looks like sort of a skyscraper. I assume it's this one that's all lit up. I mean, it being lit up nice, but it does kind of just look like a bit of a skyscraper thing. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this. I think kind of looking like a bit of a standard skyscraper, but it could not be the best picture. And I am don't know much about it, so my own ignorance is harming this here. But for a world wonder sort of amazing building things, I think this is a bit poor. Let's say F. Then we have the Colosseum. This is the first one on this list that I've actually been to. You know, it's in Rome. It's a really old one. You know, where they used to have all the gladiator things going on and whatnot, and all the chariot races, stuff like that. As you can see in the picture, obviously, it's not in peak condition, you know. It's obviously a bit run down, so a lot of it's fallen over. But, you know, it is very old. I'm sure a lot of these are very old, but this one's very old. This one, it's a classic, isn't it, the Colosseum? It's like, what do you think of one of the old ones? Yeah, I think the fact that I've been to it's also adding some bias in for myself. So, you know what, I'm going to put it A tier. I enjoyed my time there, and I think it's a classic one. Then we have the Dancing House. This is one I've never heard of. I assume this isn't like a warped picture. I assume it's meant to look like the building's warped. Or it could just be a bad picture, but I assume not. With it being called the Dancing House, assuming that's kind of the gimmick. Yeah, this is one I've never heard of at all. It's completely new to me. Looks a bit more modern. It's interesting. Like, if it is like a weird curved thing going on. Yeah, different, but I don't think I'm the biggest fan of it. Looks a bit weird. Might not be the best picture, but yeah, I think probably an E. Then Dome of the Rock. This is one I haven't heard of. Looks like potentially some form of mosque maybe with the dome, but could be wrong on that completely as well. Yeah, got a nice dome, yellow dome. Interesting, like the bottom bit's white, and then sort of the top half of this section's like looks tiled, like blue and green tiles, something like that. Looks like it's got potentially like a hexagonal shape or something like that, maybe even octagonal. Yeah, this is another one I've never heard of. Looks okay, but nothing too impressive, I don't think. So I'll say a D. Ooh, here we go, another tough name. We have the Dresden Falkenreich? Falconeer? Whatever, that's definitely pronounced wrong, but you can see the name here for yourself, hopefully. Um, I have heard of this one. I know this one got like destroyed in World War, and they rebuilt it at some point. That's the only reason why I've heard of it, because I remember that happening. Like all of Dresden just got absolutely destroyed, most of it. But I remember I know they rebuilt that at some point. Looks like some form of church or something, I assume. Sort of a classic, well, not classic church, but like a fancy church. It's got like the spires going on, big central thing, maybe like a clock tower or something. Yeah, I guess. If they went awful effort to rebuild it, it must be good. But I've never seen it. I don't think it's that famous, really. I've only heard of it because it got rebuilt. I'll say C. Then we have the Eiffel Tower, one of the most famous buildings in the world, if not the most famous, I'd say. I guess maybe, I don't know what's even close to that. Yeah, I feel like Eiffel Tower probably is the most famous. Maybe Empire State Building, maybe something like that. But I think Eiffel Tower is probably more famous. I believe this was also the tallest building in the world at some point, like when it was built, because it's not the oldest compared to some of these, but it's older than all like the modern massive skyscrapers and stuff like that. I think it's just an absolute classic. I suppose downside, it is sort of just a tower, I guess. A bit pointless. It's just built to be what it is. You can say that about all of them, but yeah, I think Eiffel Tower, it's just so iconic, isn't it? It's probably the first thing I think of. Someone said, like, say a world wonder or like famous building or something like that. I think I'm thinking Eiffel Tower, and I think, yeah, it's just so well known. Was the tallest thing in the world, tallest man-made thing in the world at one point. Yeah, here's an S tier. Then we have Elizabeth Tower, or a lot of people think this is called Big Ben, but Big Ben is actually the name of the bell inside this tower, which is called Elizabeth Tower. But yeah, that's what they're on about. This one in London, obviously. Well, not obviously, but obviously for me, it's in London. If you don't know, it's in London. Yeah. In terms of the actual thing itself, though, is it that impressive? Probably not really. It's just sort of a nice clock tower, and it looks nice, but it's not that big. It is just sort of like a clock tower. Yeah, I think it's iconic though, but it's famous. But I don't think it's that good. I think probably an E. Then we have Falling Water. This is another one I've never heard of. Looks like it's got sort of a waterfall coming out of the building. Guess why that's why it's called Falling Water. So that's a interesting gimmick, I guess. Probably certainly looks like a modern one. Like this architecture looks very modern. I don't think they've been able to build a waterfall coming out of it. They maybe could, but I think it's been hard to build a waterfall in the olden times. But yeah, it just looks like a modern one. Yeah. Don't know what to say. It does look interesting, but like I say again, this is another one I haven't heard of. I don't really know what it is. But having a waterfall coming for you, unique gimmick, something going on there, and I think it looks quite nice. So I'll say C. This is the Flatiron building. I assume it's called that because of how thin it is. Looks flat. They've gone for the flat gimmick, I guess, with the name and the building. So, yep, they've doubled down on that. This is another one I haven't heard of, but yeah, interesting, I guess. Concept of going for a sort of really thin thing, rather than like just a standard sort of square or something like that. Like most tall buildings, sort of like squarish, getting narrower, going up to top with your spire. This is like flat. Yeah, got unique, but you know it's a bit brown in it, a bit not the most interesting colours. Looks a bit boring, but got a gimmick. So I say D. Not the most impressive, but you know they've got a gimmick going on. Forbidden City. This is another old one in China, I believe. Yeah, a classic again. It's a big one, I think. You know, it's kind of like lots of buildings inside of sort of walls, I think. Another classic ancient one. Looks quite nice, you know, they've got the classic sort of roofs going on. I'll say it's a B. I think it'd be a bit harsh here. I don't have many in the top tiers, do I? But we'll carry on. Gateway Arch. I think this is more known as the St. Louis Arch, is it? I think. If it is that, that's what I know it as. The St. Louis Arch. But I assume it's called the Gateway Arch. Unless this is something else, but I assume it's not. And yeah, it's an arch. Sort of like metal, silver colour. Yeah, to be honest, not the most impressive, I don't think. It is something different though, I guess, you know. Like, just an archway. They haven't gone for just a boring, straight up building. I'll say E. Not the most impressive, but, you know, they've done something different at least. Then we have the Giesel Library. This is another one I haven't heard of. Again, looking a bit more modern. But, yeah, very sort of interesting design. You know, with like these things coming out, this zigzagging roof sort of thing. Not zigzagging, but like lots of corners on the roof. Unique design. Yeah, it looks very interesting. A bit concretey, you know, sort of looks like all a very one colourish. Yeah, looks cool. Not too sure what it is, but it does look cool. Could go see. Then we have the Golden Temple, living up to its name. It is gold. Actually looks white at the bottom, I guess, but the top of its top maybe like 2/3 is certainly gold. This is another one I haven't heard of. Obviously some form of temple again. Not sure where it is. Yeah, I think this is fine, I guess. Let's say a D. And we have the Great Mosque of Dijon. This is the one I've heard of. Not sure where it is exactly. Is it in somewhere in Africa? Not sure. Let myself down here with this knowledge, but it is what I've heard of. Classic. Yeah. All the same colour, I guess, but is it made out of like mud? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not if it's that big, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm really just showing how little I know about all these, to be honest. But I've heard of it. It looks, you know, different. Let's say C. Then we have the Guggenheim Museum, which is in Bilbao. I don't know why this one's told me it's in Bilbao when none of the other ones have told me where they are, but it has done for some reason. Maybe there's more than one of them. There's maybe another Guggenheim Museum in a different place, so maybe that's why this one says Bilbao. I don't know. To the building itself, yeah, it looks really unique, you know. Obviously more modern, this design, all the curves, the roof. Yeah, looks really nice. Obviously some form of museum, but I hadn't heard of it before today. But it does look very nice. I'll say a B tier. And we have Hagia Sophia, another one I've heard of. It's in, I think it's in Istanbul. But I could be wrong on that as well. Could be wrong on all this stuff I'm saying. But we're trying. Another big mosque, I think. Got the big dome, got the towers. yeah, it's another classic one, well known. I think a B. And we have another one I haven't heard of here, the Hawa Mahal. Probably not pronounced like that, but yeah. Not sure what this is. Again, looks interesting though. Kind of orangey, ready. Like lots of different sort of sticky outy bits. No, that's describing this awfully. It looks like lots of individual towers joined together, I guess, but it's not. It's obviously one building. Got like layers as well. Yeah, this is one I've never seen or heard of before, but does look a bit interesting. I'll say a C. Then we have Himeji Castle, another classic old one. This, yeah, looks good. I like the look of this. I like the sort of white building with a black roof. It's a nice contrast. Doesn't look like a traditional castle that I know of, but I am more used to sort of European style castles. So maybe this is very normal for an Asian style castle. But yeah, it looks different to me. I think it looks very good as well. I'll say an A tier. I'm a fan of it. Back to another one I haven't heard of here, and another one that's hard to pronounce for me at least. The Kikakau G. Kinkaku G. Yeah, this is another one I've certainly never heard of. Certainly don't know how to pronounce it. What it looks like, not too sure, you know. I like 2 layers, yellow. Yeah, like this. Got a bit of a pond around it, lake, whatever. Looks Asian. Couldn't tell you where. Might not even be Asian, but it looks it to me. Not the biggest by the look of it. So yeah, it's okay. I'd say maybe a D. Another one I haven't heard of. The La Lahas Sanctuary, maybe. This one looks interesting. It's got like a bridge part. It's clearly in like a valley. Sanctuary. I guess it's some form of religious building still. Yeah, no idea where this is either, but looks interesting. You know, looks nicely designed. Got like the bridge element as well that's adding to it, I guess. Bit of extra stuff going on. Yeah, I like this. I'll say a B. Then we have Mont Saint Michel. This is in France, I believe. Pretty sure. It's another one I've heard of. It's kind of like a little bit out to sea. As you can see, this is the sea around it, but it looks extremely still, so that's making me question that, but I'm pretty sure it is in the sea. Yeah, I'm sure it is. But yeah, it's kind of like a little fort thing, walled off thing, probably a church. Yeah, it's a bit of a classic, but not the most unique either. Say probably a D. Then we have Leaning Tower of Pisa, another extremely well known one. Basically, it's famous because it wasn't built that well. I don't think it was meant to be leaning originally. I mean, that could be a lie, but at least I believe it wasn't meant to be leaning originally. So it's kind of famous. I mean, it is a nice tower, but it's more famous because it's leaning. You know, everyone goes and takes the classic photo where they're pretending to hold it up. But, you know, it's an icon, isn't it? I think. At least for, you know, it's me. It's very famous. The leaning bit's unique. I'll say an A. And we have the Lotus Temple. This is another one I haven't heard of. Oh, it looks... I assume it looks like a lotus, like a flower. Certainly does a bit. Yeah, I assume a more modern one. It certainly looks more modern. I don't know where it is. But yeah, looks nice. Looks very nice actually, you know. Nice design. Fits the name as well. Yeah. I'd say C. Then we have the Louvre. Paris again. You know, this triangle sort of glass pyramid. You go in there, it's like an art museum. Mona Lisa's there. Yeah, very, very famous again. But the building itself, is it that good? I feel like you more go. This is where you go for the contents of the building rather than the building itself. So as I'm rating the buildings, it's probably not going to get that high, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to rank it in F, you know, because this is you don't go to the Louvre to look at the building. You go to the Louvre to look at the art. Where we have Neuschwanstein Castle. Probably pronounced that wrong, but this is another one I have heard of. It's a classic old castle. I think it's like on like a mountain almost. Like it's really. Not only does it have like castle walls, it's like vertical rock faces straight next to the side of it as well. So it's like extremely defended. Yeah, I think it's maybe one of the most famous castles. You know, it's got some nice towers as well. Got a bit of mix going on, a bit of red at the front, some white, some black roofs. Yeah, I quite like this. I would say a B. Then we have the One World Trade Center. Obviously, one of the newer ones. The building itself. Yeah, I think it's just sort of another big skyscraper in it. Which to me aren't really the most interesting, to be honest. Unless you're going to be the biggest. Like a big skyscraper is just a big skyscraper, I guess. So, yeah, probably not the best for me. I think, yeah, pretty poor. Then we have the Parthenon. Another old school one, for sure. In Greece. Another one that's, you know, semi-ruined. An absolute ancient one as well. Yeah, known for its sort of columns. It's a classic. Yeah, sort of just a classic in it. Say C. Then we have Petra. Like the thing in the desert that's been carved into the stone. Like the stone city. Yeah. This one is another famous one. It's one I've certainly heard of. It's like carved directly out of the sort of cliffside, which is, yeah, I know, a bit unique. It's not just sort of built like straight from the ground, you know, it's carved out of the side of the rock. So yeah, that's cool. I think Petra is another good one. Let's say another A. Then we have the Portola Palace. This is one I've not heard of. Yeah, I don't know. It's Palace. Just having a look at it here, you know. Looks interesting. I assume it's sort of all this. Looks quite big. In terms of where it is, I don't really know. Looks interesting, but I've never heard of it. And, you know, a bit sort of square. Say a D. Then we have Perora. So unfortunately another one I haven't heard of. Whatever it is, it looks like really long and thin. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. It's hard to tell from the picture. Is it like some form of wall or something? Yeah, I'm not too sure there. I'm really letting you down here. I honestly don't even know what this is. Yeah, sorry about that. Just shows the lack of knowledge. Probably not the best picture, and the fact I can't even tell what it is. I'm gonna have to rank it lowly, I'm afraid. But I could be wrong about that for sure. Then we have the Great Pyramids, another absolute classic. Extremely, extremely old. Surely the oldest thing on here, I'd imagine. It's the thing as well. They're like, how did they build it back then? Like, how did they have the technology to do that? You know, there's always the conspiracy theory, like, ooh, built by aliens and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely ancient. extremely famous again. You know, although, yeah, could also maybe be contending for most famous Eiffel Tower, something like that. The pyramids. Yeah, really big, really old, really famous. Yeah, I think another S. Then we have the Sagrada Familia. This is another one I've been to. It's in Barcelona. The problem is it constantly has scaffolding up around it because it's not finished yet, and they're constantly building it. So when you actually go in person, the view's a bit obstructed, but it does look very, very cool. I mean, obviously the ones I've seen in person, I'm going to be a bit more biased to because I have a first-hand experience of them. But yeah, it's very, very interesting to look at. It's so well designed. But I'm sure they're all well designed. It's just I've seen this one up close personally. But I'm going to have to take points off for constantly having scaffolding on it. So I'll put it B. Then we have the Space Needle, another more modern one. This though, it's a bit more interesting. It's not just a straight up skyscraper. They've done something different. Has that the circular viewing deck thing at the top. Yeah, looks quite interesting. Maybe not the most impressive, like it's not the biggest or anything, but it's different, it's cool. I'll say let's see. There we have St. Basil's Cathedral. Another really nice looking one in my opinion. Like all the different coloured roofs. The nice design. Yeah, I think this is a really nice looking one. Again, it's quite old as well. Yeah, it just looks really good. Yeah, do you know what? I think it's good enough for an A. Then we have Sydney Opera House. Another really famous one. Obviously in Sydney, Australia. More on the modern side again. Really interesting design with the roofs. Supposedly helps with all the acoustics and stuff. Don't know if that could be wrong, but yeah, it's a very famous one, and I think it's a very nice design as well. Sort of the white pointy bits, just looks good. I think another strong one. A or B, A or B. I think maybe a B. Then we have Taj Mahal from India. Another really famous one. All white marble, I think. Probably if you go and see it now, it's usually very smoggy, I believe. I think my family went, not my direct family, but my distant family went quite recently and had a picture of it, and it was like all smoggy. But maybe they just went on a bad day. The building itself, I think, it's very cool. All white, got the towers, got the nice domes. Another really famous one as well. I think an A. Then we have the Shard in London. Again, for me, this is just sort of another big skyscraper. Not that interesting to me personally. F tier. And last of all, we have Tikal. This is what we're ending with one I haven't heard of. Doesn't look to be the largest, just looking at the trees. I can't say I know where it is. Kind of looks a bit like a mini Chichen Itza almost, like steeper sides. If you get what I mean. Yeah. It's okay, but not the best, I think. Finish with an E. Okay, that was my world famous buildings ranked, I guess. I would definitely didn't know a lot of these. So sorry if I've mispronounced anything, said anything's in the wrong place. Don't know the significance behind some of the buildings, but I've tried my best to rank them. I've mainly just gone off how cool they look, and the ones I do know are I've ranked higher probably because I'm biased towards them. But I hope you've managed to enjoy anyway. I'd enjoy any information about the ones I haven't heard of in the comments if you're interested in that. If you have any tier lists you want to see, feel free to suggest them in the comments as well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.